Karen Kellaway of the Career Story Project. In fiction writing, there exists a classic hero's journey, a sort of template writers use that involves a hero who goes on an adventure, learns a lesson, wins a victory with that newfound knowledge, returns home transformed. And what I've learned is that we also have a career journey. I'm interviewing people who I think have extraordinary careers to learn about when they launched their career, what obstacles they faced along the way, and their lessons learned. I am so pleased to have with me today Jeremiah Sparks. Jeremiah is a singer, actor, and musician here in Canada. He is known for his, and I quote, deep silken tones, which you'll hear in a moment. He has performed in the world-renowned production of Drum, done voiceover roles and stage performances across the country, such as The Lion King, The Color Purple. He's performed as Louis Armstrong, and most recently at Neptune Theatre in Halifax, Nova Scotia, as Maurice Ruddock in Beneath Springhill, where it was a one-man show and he played 10 characters. Jeremiah, we first met in Halifax, we were thinking 20 years ago when I was in charge of the Special Olympics. It was the kickoff ceremony held at one of our universities. And it was complete chaos because it had rained that day and we had to bring everything inside. You might remember at the university, and you were our performer. And when you came in, I just remember being so frazzled. I was in my 20s and you were just this calm presence. And when I said, what do you need? You just said, show me the stage. And you were just even really smooth back then, just focused and smooth. And your stage presence that you have today, it really showed up even back then off the stage. So I've got to think that has served you well in your career. Take us back to when you started your performing career, I guess back here in Halifax.
Okay. Thank you. It's an honor to be here on this show, and it was an honor to be part of the Special Olympics 20 plus years ago. What started me? My first thing, I guess, was singing. I was brought up in the church, so my father was a deacon, my mother was a deaconess, and music has always been my thing. So gospel is my home. I was the assistant organist when I was 14 in our church. And so
that's young.
That's young.
Yes, that's impressive. Yeah.
By the time I was 20, I was a choir director and the organist. And those things just kept coming with me. I love choirs. I'm so infatuated with choirs. But that started me on my musical journey. So pianist, singing, that started me there. When it comes to acting, I sort of fell into a role. My first role was on a radio play, as a play written by George Eliot Clarke. And when he rewrote the play, the small part that I read for the radio play became a larger role, and he wanted me to take on the larger role.
Wow.
And I did, yeah, and the rest is history.
So you didn't have any acting lessons?
None, no, not at the time.
Have you had acting lessons since? Because, oh my goodness.
I've hadn't had any formal acting lessons. I've learned off greats. I have mentors and people that I've rubbed up. I've been blessed to have been able to rub up against them, and I've learned a lot from them.
So do you have particular mentors, or who has supported you along the way in this career journey that you've been on?
People like Walter Borden, Jackie Richardson, Nicola Lipman. Those three in particular were very crucial in supporting me along my journey. Also, Woody Woods from Vegas came in and guided me through a lot of stuff with the choir. I was the choir director for the Nova Scotia Mass Choir, actually, before I left as well. But yeah, those people are the main ones that supported me, besides my mother, of course.
Yes, you have to mention that. So the choir, being a choir master, all right. So you know that I told you I work a lot with leaders, do leadership development, and I guess there's a couple really a couple of things for as a choir master. You have all kinds of the synergy you have to create and make sure everyone. What have you learned from that experience from being a choir master? I guess that you can relate to life and those leadership lessons.
Um, well, I think it's my ability to bring people together. Is a certain thing that not everyone has. I love people. People seem to love me. Um, and so when I'm able to bring them together, I think it's just all about that synergy, that energy that people enjoy. My choirs really do enjoy what I do, and I really enjoy what I do. So I guess that's just goes back and forth.
And that passion.
Yes, absolutely.
So in any career journey, we have obstacles, especially that hero's journey. What are some, is there something that stands out that you had to overcome or that made you maybe think of a different path?
Yes. For me, it's mainly the things that would slow me down, and that's when discrimination, prejudices would get into the way. There's several occasions where I've been setting up with my band, and a club owner would come over to me and say, just bluntly, I didn't know there was black people in the band. Although he was talking to me on the phone, he didn't realize I was black. And we had to pack up and leave.
What?
Those and it's when you're in those situations, it's hard to believe, but at the same time, he was literally telling the truth, because when you look around, you can feel the hate, you can feel the vibes, and no, it would not be a good thing to stay. And this particular brother I'm thinking of anyway. Um, but yeah, those things bring you down, that they because I just want to sing. I just want to let people hear me sing. I just want to perform. Uh, so there's a song that I wrote on my first CD called "Moving On," and it more or less talks about that, those negative things in life that try to push you back, but it's your job to push back at them. Then when you do overcome those, you come out stronger, you come out better.
I think that's really hard for us still to hear that, to hear those kind of experiences that's still going on. And in the one man play, which I'm going to say how ridiculously talented you are. I went to the
Oh,
Neptune Theater, and you did not miss a beat, a moment. It was 75 minutes, and you played every character, and you sang in between. But tell us a bit about that story.
okay, yeah. So Maurice Ruddick was a African Canadian from Spring Hill, and so the story is all about these coal miners, a disaster, coal mining disaster of 1958. This had been the third disaster, but it was the biggest one. And Maurice was crucial in helping uh, and keeping the morale up of the fellas that were expecting to die. And he did it with music. He did it through music and his funny ways. Way, way down digging, down in the deep. I'm a coal digging, daddy digging, coal for my keep, filling box after box. That's how I earn my pay. It's a story of hope. It's a story of the human resilience, and what we as humans can do when we put our minds to it, and what we can overcome. We can overcome anything when we put our minds to it.
Oh, well, it was just a beautiful story, and written. It was just so beautifully written too.
It is beautifully written.
Mhm,
Bo Dixon is an amazing writer, and I'm quite a fan of his.
mhm.
So when this play, when I auditioned for this play, I first of all had never heard of the story, and it's always interesting to me, that I learn about Black history sometimes when I take on these roles. Uh, my mother had heard of him before, but she had never told me about him. So I wanted to do this show when I heard of the story, And then once I got it and started, realizing what was involved, it felt like it was a little above me a lot. This is my first one man play, and developing these characters took some time, but um, it took what it did was stretched me. It stretched me in a way that it made me do things that I wasn't used to doing, and that just makes one better. There were times when I thought this particular play was too much for me, but I'm so glad I got through that.
Oh, yes, I am too. So what is next for you after the before? So I would think after doing how many performances in a row, that was like
We
two a day.
did that was 3 weeks, eight shows a week, so
Yes. So you're
24.
having some downtime a little bit, hopefully,
Yes, I got
and
a
then you're
couple of
gonna,
weeks of downtime, and then my next thing, I'm in the Shaw Festival. That's a big theater group here, and I'm there for 6 months.
wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to that next thing. We're doing August Wilson play Gem of the Ocean, and yeah, yeah. So I got a couple weeks here. I think I'm just gonna relax and not do too much.
Rest your voice.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure to hear your story and for you to share some of your career path that we can all learn from. Certainly, your presence, as I said, on and off the stage, and the resilience that you have shown. So, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Carrie.